I have the honor to give the floor to Ambassador Sohail Amin, distinguished member of the Pakistan Foreign Service, who is president of the Islamabad Policy Research Institute and also had served as Pakistan's ambassador to Oman and Nepal. You have the floor.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you, Chair, Honorable Governor of the Northern Province, and I also my special gratitude to the Vice Chancellor of Sir John Kotlawala Defence University for inviting me to this gathering of predominantly men in uniform. I have never worn a uniform, but I have a deep understanding of working with uniformed people while being in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, where we work very closely with the Armed Forces of Pakistan. So my presentation is based on my experiences and what I have witnessed about the aspect of professionalism in defense for national development. The topic given to me is South Asian perspective, and what I'll describe in the next few minutes, you will notice that it fits in the South Asian perspective in totality. Ladies and gentlemen, the 21st century has brought with it complex, complicated, and ambiguous challenges. The strains emanating from these challenges are putting the governments under stress. The nature of these challenges are such that they have to be tackled with speed and professionalism. The speed and professionalism is important because here is where the armed forces have a role to play. And the challenges confronting the South Asian countries are almost synonymous. Natural disasters and calamities are frequent, and the catastrophes have a direct adverse impact on the efforts being put in by the South Asian countries for economic development and poverty alleviation. We all know that earthquakes in South Asian countries are causing death and destruction too frequently. During this decade, both Pakistan and Nepal have been devastated by nature's fury, resulting in the death of hundreds of thousands of people and destruction of infrastructure worth billions of dollars. The impact of the climate change and unpredictable weather conditions inundate vast territories of inhabited and cultivated land in South Asia. In 2010, 3/4 of Pakistan's entire territory was submerged underwater. This year again, flash floods have caused immense damage to infrastructure. We have been witnessing similar situations in Bangladesh, in Nepal, and India too often. The situation created by flooding gives little warning and has to be tackled swiftly. Countries in South Asia are also facing a wave of terrorism where non-state actors as well as individuals are confronting the states. The phenomena of terrorism retards and in affected areas brings the pace of economic development to a halt. It also results in loss of life and destruction of infrastructure. For almost 30 years, Sri Lanka experienced the worst form of such terrorism, which it has successfully eliminated and is now on the path of economic development. Pakistan has been grappling with this issue and is getting closer to eliminating this menace from its territory with every passing day. Ladies and gentlemen, the challenges that I have just explained are internal threats. Remedial measures have to be taken and implemented with speed and accuracy so that the process of development could be carried on without any hindrance. This is where the role of the defense forces becomes crucial and indispensable. The defense forces of Pakistan have played an exemplary role in this regard, which I will briefly explain now. The armed forces of Pakistan are battle-hardened and thoroughly professional. Their primary task is soldiering and achieving excellence in combat. Side by side, they are trained to provide essential services to the community. They also have a tradition of performing in very difficult and different circumstances. The army has been requisitioned by the civilian authorities for restoration of law and order and establishment of the writ of the state in troubled areas. The government of Pakistan has full trust in their professional ability and has employed them effectively whenever and wherever required. The armed forces have thus played a significant role in creating the enabling environment so that the country can continue with its economic development. The people of Pakistan also have a special faith in its armed forces' ability to come in support of the people of Pakistan in difficult times and be a part of the reconstruction and development process. In return, the armed forces have always honored the trust and confidence that the people of Pakistan repose in them. They have reached far-flung areas devastated by earthquakes for relief efforts in no time. They have risked their lives in flood waters to save precious lives, and they have confronted the terrorists face to face and stood their ground until their elimination. It is because of the professional training of the armed forces that Pakistan has come out of several crisis situations unscathed and has continued its march towards progress and prosperity. Ladies and gentlemen, now I will give a few specific examples of the earthquake and the flooding that happened in Pakistan and how, with speed and accuracy, the armed forces of Pakistan reacted to that. The earthquake of October 2005 still haunt the memories of the people of Pakistan. Hundreds of thousands of people died and millions were rendered homeless. The trail of devastation stretched across 30,000 square kilometers of area. This was the largest disaster to have hit Pakistan since independence, and the country was unprepared. At the time of the earthquake, Pakistan did not have a civilian institution that could have handled a disaster of this magnitude. Within hours of the calamity, the Pakistan Army took complete control of the quake-hit areas and began search, rescue, and relief operations. Several battalions comprising thousands of men were deployed in the areas which could not be approached through roads. Pakistan Air Force and Army helicopters flew hundreds of sorties to distribute thousands of tons of relief goods and foodstuff among the affected people in narrow and remote valleys. Several injured stuck in the rubble were rescued by the troops. Army doctors and paramedics reached the areas of destruction to provide medical assistance to the injured through makeshift military hospitals. Despite heavy snowfall that followed the quake, the Army engineers quickly opened several roads blocked by massive landsliding and restored the traffic flow that further expedited the relief and rescue activities in the affected areas. Hundreds of tent villages to accommodate thousands of victims as survivors continued to come down from hilltops of quake-affected areas. Within a few days after the earthquake, signs of normalcy began appearing, and within a few weeks, life as usual returned to the areas destroyed by the quake. This could not have happened with such speed and professionalism if Pakistan Defense Forces had not been trained in dealing with such situations. Again, ladies and gentlemen, floods in Pakistan are a frequent occurrence, and the army has always been called upon in aid of civil authorities for undertaking relief and rescue operations. A comprehensive setup to fight any challenges resulting from floods in the country has been evolved by the Pakistan Army. A flood relief center at the General Headquarters has been functioning since 1977. Such centers also exist at the corps level. Before the onset of flood season, several precautionary measures are initiated by the Pakistan Army, such as the inspection of all flood protection works and preparation of contingency plans in coordination with civilian authorities. These actions are completed well in advance of the occurrence of floods. Before the flood waters could enter the areas, units are allocated areas of their deployment, equipment is tested and allocated to them for relief operations. Communication system is set up and operation rooms are established by the Pakistan Army. During the floods, Army flood relief centers start functioning round the clock. They receive situation reports, daily weather forecast, and they also monitor rivers discharge. Such an immaculate system of operations developed by the armed forces makes life easier for people living in the affected areas during the floods. Coming to the subject of terrorism, ladies and gentlemen, several South Asian countries are prone to terrorist activity of one type or another. Sri Lanka has already overcome this menace. It was a test of Sri Lanka's endurance and survival. The country has proved its mettle by defeating the forces of evil involved in causing death and destruction in its northern and eastern provinces. Sri Lanka has emerged victorious not only in liquidating militancy and terror, but also in its pursuit of post-conflict peace and stability. There is no need for me to go into the details of how this monster grew up in Pakistan. We all know that the phenomena of terrorism in Pakistan is a byproduct of the circumstances when all the major powers left Afghanistan in haste after the withdrawal of Soviet Union. We were left alone to deal with a culture of terror, weapons, and drugs which they had deliberately crafted to achieve victory against the Soviet Union. As of today, a comprehensive military operation against terrorists is ongoing. So far, several local and foreign militants have been killed, and senior and middle-level command of militants has been eliminated. Remaining militants are on the run. Intelligence-led operations are being carried out all over the country. Terrorists no longer retain the capacity to carry out organized violence. Although major objectives have been achieved, the operation is still ongoing and will continue until the last remnant of the evil forces is decimated. The entire nation remains indebted to the defense forces for eliminating the forces of destruction that have so far caused economic losses of about $107 billion to Pakistan's economy. The process of economic development in Pakistan has already picked up pace, and the growth rate has increased to more than 4% after many years. It will further pick up pace as soon as the armed forces finish their operation. Ladies and gentlemen, the armed forces of Pakistan also undertake responsibility of providing security to key development projects in Pakistan. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor is one such mega project. Keeping in view the importance of this corridor, the Chief of Army Staff has assured the government and the people of Pakistan that the armed forces will safeguard this project from internal and external threats, not only during its construction phase, but also after its operationalization. The Army has embedded a comprehensive security mechanism in the overall arrangement being made for this for this corridor. A special security force comprising 12,000 combatants is being set up to protect the Chinese workers and engineers. There are plans to devote 9 army battalions and 6 wings drawn from the paramilitary, frontier corps, and rangers. Both these entities have a vast experience of maintaining law and order in combat zones. Pakistan Army has also set up several state-of-the-art institutions for participation in the infrastructure development process in the country. These include the National Logistics Cell, capable of handling and transportation of dry and liquid cargo in the country. Another important institution is the Frontier Works Organization, which undertakes construction of roads, bridges, dams, and canals. It has constructed and is maintaining thousands of kilometers of road in extremely difficult terrains. The entire civilian population in the area is dependent on these roads for their daily supplies. Another army institution, the Special Communications Organization, provides telephone facilities to areas in Pakistan since 1976 in areas that are almost inaccessible due to difficult terrain. In the field of education, the armed forces are making a valuable contribution. They have established universities, cadet colleges, medical colleges, and schools. Those benefiting from these institutions are predominantly civilians. To conclude, ladies and gentlemen, the armed forces of Pakistan have played a pivotal role in either rectifying an adverse situation created by a natural calamity or in creating an enabling environment to carry forward the process of national development. Inculcating professionalism for purposes of participation in national development is part of the training program. They have achieved enough so far to be emulated by other South Asian countries. I thank you very much.